Today, I'm taking you to see my favorite art event of the year, the Sketchbook Exhibit hosted by Urban Sketchers Tokyo. It's always an eye-opening, awe-inspiring learning experience to flip through the private journals of these master sketchers and to see such a vast range of art styles and perspectives. So I hope this will be a source of inspiration to fuel your creativity as well. After we tour the exhibit, I'll be joining the Urban Sketchers crew in the beautiful historic neighborhood of Yokohama and applying what I've learned to my own sketch. To give you a little bit of background about this show, Urban Sketchers Tokyo is an open community of artists that hosts regular sketching meetups in and around Tokyo. Their events attract a lot of local artists as well as international travelers, and I've met so many amazing artist friends and made such wonderful connections with people all around the world through their events. USK Tokyo is actually the local chapter of a global network of urban sketchers that encourages people to see their own city through a different lens while practicing the art of on-location sketching. Every year in March, USK Tokyo hosts a free sketchbook exhibit where you can get an intimate look at the sketchbooks of dozens of artists that are active in the community. This is their third year running this show and my third year attending it. It's the single event of the year that I will not miss for anything in the world. The special theme this year is self-portrait. So right as you walk in, you're greeted by the faces of all the artists who have their sketchbooks on display. It's fascinating to see how each artist depicts themselves with vastly different styles ranging from realism to playful cartoons, bold abstractions, and everything in between. Inside the exhibit space are nearly 100 sketchbooks spread along a long row of tables. I think it's incredibly trusting for these artists to just leave their work out here like this for strangers to flip through. The first sketchbook I picked up is from Bonnie, a Hong Kong-based artist who travels to Japan often. I met Bonnie at a Tokyo meetup last year, and I'm just always struck by her very bold use of colors and white space. In particular, this one was my favorite sketch of hers here. The composition is so unique, and the grittiness from those long shadows with super granulating pigment really captures that Tokyo back alley vibe perfectly. This next one is from Casey, who has such a loose and wildly expressive style that always leaves me speechless and just in sheer awe of his talent. I've sketched next to him a few times, and he actually just uses like a random stick he found on the ground, dips it in Japanese calligraphy ink, and sketches like that. It is mesmerizing to watch him at work, and he's one of those master sketchers who makes me think, that is absolutely amazing, and there is no way in a million years I could do that. He and a few other veterans at USK Tokyo often go out and do these super massive street sketches that are quite the sight to behold. The funny thing is that looking at how fierce and passionate his line work is, you never guess that he's actually this very shy, very sweet gentleman who always avoids making eye contact with my camera. Anyway, let's keep looking at Casey's very amazing sketchbooks, shall we? I just love how he's able to capture those busy, hectic streetscapes of Tokyo with just a few sparing strokes of ink. To an untrained eye, it might look like random scribbles, and he does make it appear effortless. But anybody who's drawn before knows that these are highly calculated, random-looking lines that take years, if not decades, of experience to master. It really is quite a treat to be able to see so much of his work at once. Next up is an artist I'm seeing for the very first time at this exhibit. The moment I opened his sketchbook, I was just completely floored by the amazing artistry. This is Joshua Fu, who goes by the handle Foohaus online, and he's based in Malaysia. His sketchbooks are big, hefty, and extremely elaborate. His work somehow looks really detailed and also loose and casual at the same time. I have no idea how he pulls off this magical effect. His calligraphy is jaw-droppingly gorgeous. He manages to blend Chinese calligraphy, English calligraphy, stamps, and stickers together to create these masterfully crafted compositions. And it's just a joy to pore over all the little tiny details in his sketchbooks. Toward the later half of this book, I can also see some sketches with very clear influences from traditional Chinese ink paintings, or 水墨画. And I'm just running out of words to describe how beautiful they are. To me, he is the gold standard of this East meets West, tradition meets innovation aesthetic that I would love to be able to achieve one day. I also really enjoy calligraphy, both in Chinese and in English, but I've never gotten proper training on them. Seeing Joshua's beautiful work just makes me want to run and sign up for calligraphy classes right away. This one belongs to the Korean artist Jini Park, who goes by the handle Jini Urbans. She has a very distinctive personal style that is quite striking. She uses these large geometric shapes to frame her sketches with just a little bit of detail that extends off of the main frame. Combined with her neat handwritten journal and very generous use of white space, each of her work is unmistakably her own. I really adore how clean her use of color is, without it feeling bland or boring. Her line work looks very neat at first glance, but upon closer inspection, you can see that it's actually fairly loose and freestyle. Her work is a great role model for the kind of style that I'm aiming for, clean and comfortable on the eyes with just the right touch of wobbly, free-handed eccentricity. It's a very fine balance to strike, and I hope to be able to do this one day. When I first discovered this sketchbook exhibit 2 years ago, I was at a very dark place in my art journey. I was getting a little bit of attention on social media. I think I had like 50 or 60k followers on Reddit at that point. And because my following was growing pretty quickly, I put a lot of pressure on myself to perform for the audience. If one of my posts didn't get as many likes as I used to, I would feel disappointed in myself and feel like I've finally been found out as an imposter. As a result, the more successful I became online, the less I actually drew, because every time I picked up my paintbrush, I felt paralyzed by this need to do better, to make something beautiful and perfect that people would like. Deep down, I knew that's really silly, that I shouldn't let the cloud affect me like this, and enjoying the process of creating art is the only thing that mattered. But it was still really, really hard to let go of that insecurity. Art was no longer fun for me at that time. Coming to this exhibit in its first year changed all of that. It was quite the eye-opening experience to see this huge variety of different art styles and to get a glimpse at these raw, authentic journal pages that I know can feel so personal to people. So it was very generous of these artists to share this deeply private part of their lives with us. They showed me that there are so many people in my city doing whatever they want in their sketchbooks, drawing freely and loosely and just purely enjoying all of the experimentation and the freedom that comes with sketching and creating. Their pages are so full of life and energy, and seeing everyone doing their own thing just really inspired me to want to go out and draw more, and to embrace the messiness and imperfection of quick but heartfelt sketches. That's when it truly hit me, that art really is all about having fun, and recording the little moments in life that matter to you, without having to worry about making it beautiful or pleasing to other people. That's when I started carrying around the second casual sketchbook for my random daily scribbles, where I tell myself I really do not care how this turns out, and that is perfectly okay. That's also when I started practicing speed sketches on a 20-minute timer in order to loosen up even more. If you've seen my previous videos, you know that some of my favorite works are in that casual, loosey-goosey sketchbook. So I am forever grateful to USK Tokyo for putting on this exhibit that helped me through a rough time and reminded me of the simple pleasure of putting pen to paper. That's why I continue to come back every single year to rediscover the joy of creating art and fall in love with it all over again. I know I'm definitely not alone in struggling through this kind of rut of self-inflicted pressure. So for my fellow artists out there, I hope that this is also your takeaway from watching this exhibit along with me. Give yourself the time and space you need to really let loose and not think about how good your art is or how many likes or follows you get. Ironically, that was the mindset that helped me grow the fastest as an artist from a craft perspective, and I was so much happier as a content creator as well. We can only make other people happy through our art if we make ourselves happy first. Speaking of creating art, after feeling totally recharged from touring the exhibit, it is time to head outside and sketch together with the USK Tokyo crew.
こんにちは。スケッチ会もう始まってるんですか？あ、じゃあちょっと。
This is the same kind of setup as any regular sketching meetup. People would walk around the venue, find a spot, do their own thing, and meet back up in 2 hours for the final throwdown. As with the past 2 years, the exhibit is hosted at Bluff number 18, a beautiful colonial mansion in Yokohama. It used to be the home of foreign diplomats and merchants, and was also a church at one point. Every time I visit this exhibit, I'm always inspired to sketch looser, bolder, and bigger. So this time, I attempted to do a larger spread with very minimal pencil undersketching, just enough to get the rough layout in there. And then I went in with my fountain pen for some very loose and rough line work. I really like fountain pens for this style of lines because the ink pools at the end of your strokes, creating this slightly gritty texture for that perfectly imperfect kind of vibe. I'm going for that look where it looks detailed at a glance, but it's actually just a lot of scribbles. And here is my full line work. I started with a very quick and light wash of base color for the walls, where I blended a few different colors for a subtle and more interesting effect. And I was very inspired by the bold but clean use of colors from Bonnie and Jini, so I subconsciously was using colors that are much stronger than what I'm normally comfortable with. If you've seen my sketches, you know that I'm a very light and airy kind of painter, and it scares me a little to use such dark, strong colors. But today is all about experimenting, learning from others, and getting out of my comfort zone. I used a very strong ultramarine for the shadows, with intentional, decisive strokes. This is something I'm trying to practice more, drawing inspiration from the sketches I've seen today. In the last couple minutes, I added this tree on the side with broad, dry strokes. This is my first time painting trees like this, and I'm actually really enjoying how these organic shapes are turning out. And the last thing is to add a brilliant wash of blue sky to bring everything together. Having a blue sky always helps, in my experience. Here is the finished sketch. I'm really happy with how striking these bold colors look, and I'm proud of myself for pushing my boundaries a little and trying something new. The 2 hours of sketching time were up, so everyone started heading back inside for the throwdown. This is always the most fascinating part, since you get to see how differently each artist selected their subject and interpreted the scene, even though we were all drawing at the same location. It's a great chance to learn from other people around you. I was most impressed by this big watercolor painting that captured the light and shadow so well with so few strokes. It's mind-boggling to think that this was painted in less than 2 hours while being more than double the size of my sketchbook. I hope you've enjoyed this intimate look at the sketchbooks of so many amazing artists, and hopefully this has also inspired you to create more and stress less. If you want to see my own sketchbook tour with a whole year's worth of travels around the world, check out this video linked on the screen. If you want to find an Urban Sketchers chapter near you, I'll include a link to that in the description as well. I'll see you next time for another sketching adventure in Tokyo during Sakura season. Bye!